Welcome back to another episode of my photo shoot breakdown series. This series has gotten a lot of great feedback. I enjoy doing it. It's a great fit, so I'm going to keep doing it. Today, I'm taking you behind the scenes of an advertising shoot I did last month for InterContinental Hotels in Tokyo, Japan. I'll walk you through my gear. I'll share and talk about the images I took. I'll give you some tips along the way, tell you my experience on set, and to wrap things up, I'll reveal my top 5 favorite images from the 2-week long shoot, and you can let me know if you agree or disagree. So if you're new here, I'm Justin Mott, and for over 20 years, I've been telling stories with a camera, more than 100 assignments under my belt around the world for the New York Times. My work has been featured in National Geographic and just about every major publication out there. And yeah, I shoot with Leica, but today I'm talking about Sony gear because I use a lot of Sony gear for our commercial photography. But honestly, the camera doesn't matter. This channel is not about pixel peeping or worshiping the latest gear drop. It's about the craft, the hustle, and the lessons I've learned from my life as a photographer. And hopefully you can pick up something from that, whether you're an amateur or pro. So if you're interested in workshops, coaching, presets, and more, check out askmott.com. So for this particular shoot in Tokyo, it was a full overhaul of their image library following a major renovation that they did. Typically, when a hotel redoes the entire hotel, they want new images to match that. Makes sense. So they needed everything from rooms to restaurants, meeting spaces, exteriors, lifestyle shots featuring models, and detail shots of the new decor and furniture. For the lifestyle shots or the model shots, the target market was families. So a young couple with a child was cast, and then the images were going to be a mix of scenarios from intimate couple moments to the full experience across the hotel as an entire family. So the planning and pre-production of a shoot like this takes months of planning because we handle everything: the casting, the wardrobe, the scheduling, the scouting, because every little detail matters, and at the end it all falls on us. Now occasionally clients will hire the models themselves, but we'll still manage them. We will still typically do all of the wardrobe, all of the props. And so if you imagine coming from Hanoi, we have our team go. We're a light team because we're very versatile, but we have to take a ton of luggage. We have a whole office just filled with shoes, hats, bags, pants, shirts for all ages and all sizes. So once we arrive in the location for a shoot, the first few days are all about scouting. Now this will vary depending on the size of the hotel and the size of the shoot. Typically it takes about a full day, but sometimes if we're doing a destination shoot, shooting off-site, then it might take a couple days because there's a lot to scout. So for this shoot, everything was on site. So I'm gonna go around with the hotel marketing team with my wife as the executive producer on the shoot. She's gonna handle the entire scheduling for everything. So we're walking around, we're checking out different rooms. She's asking me what angle, what time. We're looking at the sun, seeing if we can get natural light in the rooms, and we're just basically coming up with a rough game plan on the spot. And then the second half of the day, I'm gonna sit down with the producer, my wife, and we're just gonna go through everything meticulously. And when I say we, she's gonna do most of that. She's gonna go through and just ask me questions. I'm sort of on standby. Like, can you also shoot that room at this time if we have to? She's trying to formulate a plan. You have to think about planning for like 14 days of shooting and just trying to make everything as efficient as possible for us, but also mainly for the hotel team. Because you have to remember, like, we want to make a little as impact as possible on the hotel. They've got a business to run. So for gear on the shoot, we used our full-on Sony kit. So that's a Sony a7R4, which on the shoot, mid-shoot, we upgraded to a Sony a7R5. Every time we're in Tokyo, we seem to buy new camera equipment. And quickly, you might say, like, Justin, I thought you shoot Leica. I do shoot Leica for a lot of my individual stuff, my editorial stuff, my personal projects, and then some of my commercial work I shoot with Leica. Most of our jobs are not photo only. This is a rarity these days. We do a lot of these hybrid shoots, so video and stills, and sometimes at the same time. I'm directing our cinematographer, but also shadowing him as well with a stills camera. It's just the way the industry has changed, so I've got to be able to work fast, and we need a lot of different equipment, and we need doubles of certain lenses. It just makes sense to shoot with Sony. When you start to scale up with Leica, it just gets way too expensive. So for lenses, we've got a 14mm for tight spaces, although I hate the distortion. I don't love it, but sometimes we need it for the clients that just want us to, like, can you make the room look big? Yeah, I can. It's going to be a little distortion. I prefer to use my 24 for room shots. Then we also have a Sony 20mm, which is like the compromise lens. It's a little too distorted for my taste, but they still love it. We end up using that a lot. So for the 24 and the 20, they're both Sonys. We also have a mix of Sigma lenses as well. Like I said, we need to scale up. We need versatility. We need zoom lenses. I don't love zoom lenses, but I need them to fill in the gap sometimes if something were to go wrong with one of our prime lenses. But I do like the quality of the prime lenses more. But we have a Sigma 24-70. We also have a 70-200 Sigma lens that we also picked up in Tokyo, and that comes in handy sometimes when I need to make something out of nothing or just need to pull back and get a long shot. I used it actually quite a bit on the shoot. It came in handy. For prime lenses, I use a Sony Zeiss 50mm 1.4 lens. I love that lens. I love the metal feel to it. I love the quality of that lens. I use that lens quite a bit for model shots just because it offers that nice balance of a little bit of compression. If I pull back a little bit, it also allows me to show a lot of the hotel as well. Not super tight on my models. I'm typically pulling back. They're important, but they're really small in a lot of our shots because we're selling the hotel. We're selling the experience at the hotel. I also have a Sigma 85. I absolutely love that lens. My assistant talked me into it. I always wanted the best of the best, but I love that lens. It's been great to use. 85mm, I use a ton for lifestyle shoots when I need to isolate my subject, or really like the 70-200 when it's a tough shot that I need to get for the client. They just have to have this shot on the list. This lens gets me out of a lot of trouble, and also just the quality and value of this lens is just amazing. For tripods, we use a very expensive setup. We have an Arca Swiss cube head. It's awesome for all of our interior shots. Big, it's heavy, it's sturdy, and it just allows me to get in weird positions with my tripod, which I end up getting into. I'm always backed into a corner, always like have to adjust sort of a tripod up on a windowsill. I'm trying to pull back as far as I can all the time with the lens that's the least distortion. So like, yeah, I could shoot with a 14, but it's like, wham, when I shoot with a 20 or a 24, if I can get farther back, it's going to be less distortion, less ceiling in the shot, less roof in the shot, and more of what I want in the shot, which is the middle of the room. And so we have this thing we call Mega Tripod. It's a Gitzo tripod. I don't know the exact brand. It's on my ultimate gear guide list if you want to check that out at askmott.com. All my gear is on there, so if you're interested in what I shoot and why, I have affiliate links on there. You can check that out. I'll put a link in the description box below. So for lighting, we bring our own lighting. We're looking around for as much natural light as possible, but we also, for hotels, we need to plan appropriately. They're not like resorts where we can fully rely on natural light. Well, we never fully rely on natural light. We try our best, but we can't. So we bring a 500-watt NAN light. That's going to overpower the sun when we need it. So think about putting this outside of a window, pouring some light in so it looks like the sun's coming in. For hotels, tricky because usually outside is like 30th floor, and I don't have a ladder that goes up to the 30th floor, but we use it quite a bit for our lifestyle shots and then occasionally for our room shots as well. So the shooting process, we typically divide up a shoot like this into two main parts, with and without models. So the without models are interiors, details, architectural shots, all the room shots, and there was a lot in the shoot. Then we have the with model shots that we call sort of lifestyle moments. So these are staged scenarios. They're staged, but we try to make them in sort of a natural way. It's sort of like brand storytelling. So it's the family in different scenarios, experience the breakfast, showing that they have a little kids breakfast area, showing that they have a lounge area for the adults. So shots with and without the kids, lifestyle moments in the room, showing them hanging out in the room, trying to come up with different scenarios. We're working closely with the hotel team, saying, what do you want to convey? What's the message you want to convey? And then we're filling in the spots with the light, with the moments, with the action and the props and all that. It's not just me, it's an entire team that puts this together. For room shots, like the bedroom shots, typically it's only one angle. It's just a matter of the depth. And sometimes we have to shoot back, but usually it's like right when you walk in and there's that little hallway, and then I shoot wide from that spot right there. I'm trying to get as back far as I can and show as much of the room as I can. Then also for the view shots, because we're doing composite shots, what we'll do on the scouting day or any day that it's nice, I'm going around to different rooms, or my assistant's going around to different rooms, and we're taking key and samples. So if the view was really nice that day, like we had a nice view of Mount Fuji in the background and the sky was blue, again, you can do a lot of the stuff in post-production, but a lot you can't. Like I still need to see the city, still need to see the view, especially for city hotels. For resorts, it's typically just the ocean or the sky, so we can do that pretty easily. But for this, there's different floors with different views of different parts of the city. So we'll go around on scouting day and just go right up to the window and just take some key-in shots for the different rooms and then make notes of all this. So every time before we do any room shot, we'll take a picture on the screen for the retoucher and for the producer to have notes. So room 301, view of this, and then they know where to key that in. So everything's organized ahead of time. I'm terrible at all this. I just follow what the producer says. I follow what my wife says, and it just all magically happens. So we'll set up the shot and basically everything's in place, and then we'll basically, like, everyone pulls back, they've got the screen, and I'm just there locked off on my tripod, make sure the angle's perfect, making sure everything is sharp, and then my assistant is just basically going in and light painting, lighting the furniture, lighting the parts that we want to highlight in the room, and then that will all be stitched together later on by our retoucher. For everything on the shoot, I work with a detailed shot list, but for lifestyle shots, sometimes we leave room for spontaneous moments. I think that's where I work best, like when things aren't planned. We need to plan a certain amount of things, but every once in a while, like in this case, I noticed like, oh, okay, there's this beautiful Christmas tree. We also need a shot of the couple on that giant staircase in the lobby. It's quite spacious. So I thought, okay, maybe I can get an additional shot pull back a little bit with the 7200, get the Christmas tree in there, and then they could use it for this holiday season, upcoming holiday seasons, and then as a brand, maybe they can use it for a global ad campaign for the holiday season as well. I'm always thinking, we agree on a certain shot list and a certain number of deliverables, but I always overshoot, and I can't tell you how often that turns into additional sales for us, because sometimes they want to buy more images, sometimes the brand wants to buy more images, so that's more money for the models for usage and more money for Mott visuals, and that's all built into the contract. That doesn't just magically happen. You have to have a solid contract to make that work. If you don't, and you just hand over everything, then you don't make any extra money. Another challenge would be hotel occupancy. The hotel was almost at full capacity, which meant we had to be flexible and move around and say, okay, like we showed up for this shot, but this is going to happen, so we got to put it this time. Or it might be a situation like the tea area. They had this really cool tea room, and I really wanted some shots with the staff there, but the timing wasn't working well because they were setting up. And, again, customers first. But so we came back the next day just because I was like, I want to fight for the shot. Can we come back the next day? There was a little bit of hole in the schedule. Can we arrange it, come back, or I can finish another shot a little bit faster? I just love the outfits in there. I love the outdoor garden area. I loved all the glass and the reflections. And so we went back and got some cool shots there. So as far as post-production and delivery, once the shoot wraps, the real work begins. We deliver a pre-agreed number of images with a couple rounds of retouching. So we'll send the images. We'll do some basic stuff that we know they want removed, outlets, smoke detectors, things like that. And then we'll give a lightly toned version of our lifestyle and model shots. We'll give sort of a before and after look of our room shots just so they can see, so they don't get scared seeing that just one gross image shot where it's like super overexposed outside and bright inside. They'll get a rough batch. It might be like 500 images, might be less, might be more, depending on the shoot. And then they'll go through with their team and select, okay, these are the ones we want. We agreed on 50 or 75 images. These are the ones we want. And then we'll start doing the heavy retouching on that. Then our producer works directly with the retoucher and sort of liaises between the retoucher and the client. And then this process can take several weeks for a shoot like this because there's just so much at stake, so many images. And then for me, the process is I have to come home, and I spend about a week here in my home office, and I'm just sorting. I'm not doing the major retouching. I'm doing the sorting. I'm doing color correction on the model shots. I'm picking the model shots. Like for the room shots, it's really not that complicated. It's more of me just separating them into folders. I do that myself just because I know what I shot. Low lights for me in the shoot are always just bathroom shots. They're always so hard and tight, and I just find myself in weird positions, under showers, sitting on toilets, and just like triggering remotely, setting up the camera, setting up the tripod back in the corner, and I'm just there. Like I've met GMs where it's funny, like for the first time, like, oh, that's the photographer, and I'm like sitting on toilet taking a picture. It's not the most flattering, but it's part of the job. Bathroom shots are hard. I'll end with a few of my favorite images. I said 5, but I'll put a couple more. I've talked so much. You've stayed this long. I'll show a couple more. So mostly my favorite images are typically lifestyle images, pictures with models, because I like photographing people more than anything else. I'll include a couple of our natural light detail shots and a few of our composite room shots, just so you get a sense of the final product that we're giving to the clients. Hope you like this episode. This one's a little bit longer because it was a lot of work, and I just wanted to go through it because people seem interested in these type of shoots. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to check out my online store at askmott.com for coaching, presets, and my Northern Vietnam photography workshop this March 2025. A couple slots left. You can check out my commercial portfolio, see our video work, see other work similar to this at mottvisuals.com. That's all my commercial work. If that doesn't interest you, but you watch this whole thing, I don't know why, you can check out my personal portfolio at justinmott.com. That's more of my reportage and documentary work as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to have a wonderful day.